we're going to talk a little bit about creative variety. So I don't know if anyone has noticed at the moment, but the content landscape has really, really changed. So on socials, everywhere you're showing up online, it's all looking very, very different at the moment. And normally, I don't really like to pay attention to trends and things like that. I just want to do what I do, and I want everyone else to do what they do. But this time, there's a reason to actually stand up and pay attention. And that's what I'm going to talk you through in today's talk. What we're changing as a content studio, what we're now doing for our clients to make their content optimized and elevated and make people actually stop and pay attention in this content-hungry world that we are currently living in. And especially, we're going to talk a little bit about the sort of incoming of AI and how to navigate that as well. So, firstly, who the F is Alice? That's me. I'm Alice. And why should you listen to me? So I'm the founder of Loveday Social. We are a creative content studio based in Bournemouth. We create a variety of content for product-based brands, mostly e-com, for their social channels and online marketing. My background is in film and advertising, so I have worked on some big films for directors such as Martin Scorsese and Kenneth Branagh, and I've also worked in the advertising industry, helping big brands create stories to sell their products. And this is what I'm now bringing to our clients and teaching to through our membership and our group programs as well. I am... Ooh. Got click happy. My main passion is creativity. So basically, I don't really care what format we're doing as long as we're being really creative with it. And that's what I hope to inspire you with and help you infuse into your marketing as well with some different formats. And that's what I'm going to take you through today. What our studio has been known for up until now, or is still known for, is mostly playful stop motion. We love stop motion. That is my absolute true love. It brings me so much joy to animate products, to bring things to life. It brings me joy to tell stories through inanimate objects, and also to generate sales through this magical medium as well. Storytelling is one of the #1 drivers of sales. So it's really, really important to find new, interesting ways to tell stories through your content and through your digital marketing. And stop motion is a really great way to do that. We also do polished product photography, and we are big on creative thinking, as I have said, and generally high-end considered visuals. So we've worked with brands like Cosmopolitan, IKEA, John Lewis, and also Nails Inc., and then also a ton of smaller independent e-com brands as well. Now, this kind of content still absolutely works. This is a really core part of your marketing to have this kind of polished content. And this can be just your product photography. So if you've been doing product photography until now, it's important to keep that layer of polished content. So you want to keep your product photography. I'm not telling you to throw out your polished visuals. But there are now more layers that we want to be adding onto it to bring about a more rounded strategy. So this type of content is strong, it's premium, and it has been the backbone of marketing for years and years and years. But in 2026, we are starting to do things a little bit differently. AI is here, as we all know. Has anyone been looking at AI at all? Has anyone had a play with AI? Yeah? Had good results? Yeah? Yeah, good. They're mixed, aren't they? We can do some good stuff. It's also sometimes comes out quite weird. Mostly comes out quite weird. So the internet is full of these kind of overly polished visuals. We can create gorgeous visuals now with AI. We can create these magical filmscapes that we would never be able to create, which is amazing, and I'm for it. But suddenly, what that brings is this feeling of, with our customers and our audiences, is that they're not quite sure what content to trust or not anymore. They don't know what's real or not anymore, and that bothers them. They need to trust you as a brand if they're going to buy from you. So trust is the #1 driver of sales. If people can't trust you, they're not going to buy from you. So we need to be really clear with our content when we're using AI, when we're not using AI, and we also want to mix our more polished content, even if we're using AI, with that rawer content that's going to really build up that trust. So it's not really anymore just about creating content. Now, what we're trying to do to gain trust and to build up our customer base is actually build worlds around our products and our brands. This is what we want to be inviting people into. We want to be showing them what we're about, what our values are, who lives here, who it's for through our content. And we want to be showing them your vibe and why they want to be part of it. When you do that, you create super fans for your brand. And they will be the people that go and tell all their friends about your products and about your brand. And they will be one of your #1 drivers of sales as well. We want people to recommend you to their friends. We want your brand to be in the WhatsApp chats being like, oh my God, I cannot believe this product I have tried. This is so incredible. So let's have a look at some brands that are doing that really well at the moment. So these brands are creating immersive worlds. And to create an immersive world, we need that creative variety. So that's what we're talking about today, creative variety. So this is bringing about a few different formats to create a multi-layered digital approach. So Burberry, I'm loving Burberry's content at the moment. It is so good. They continue to nail it all the time. So as you can see here, they are all these different sort of types of formats. They've got this nice polished videography here, but it's human first. They've got a human in it, and that's something that's a really important takeaway. If you write down anything, write down human first. So wherever possible, add human elements into your content. This doesn't mean it has to be you. Don't worry. I'll show you how you can do it without it being you. But it's human focused. This is someone telling a story. They've got an overhead shot of the hands. It's really emotive. And that's what we're kind of wanting to angle towards at the moment with our content. Over here, we've got this series that Burberry did of a door cam. So episodic content is also a really great way to keep your audience hooked on your content. It's a great format. And this, using a door cam, was just a really clever way to create that series that they could just repeat again and again. If you can find a format that you can then just repeat, but with different things happening in it or different products, you're really winning, because then it just becomes easy to create and it can become part of a system. So they did a whole series of these door cam shorts where people came to the door holding different Burberry products. Obviously, they're wearing Burberry, but they're just kind of, I think they're about 10 seconds long each, and there was just a ton of them, and they kept posting them, and they did really, really well. And then we've also got our candid shots. So at the moment, this style of photography, you might notice in a lot of fashion brands are using. It's that kind of editorial style. But what you'll notice is different now to how it used to be, is it's really kind of high contrast. It looks like it's been taken on an old disposable camera. It's flash. It looks like a bad flash has taken it. But it's actually really high-end, obviously, because it's Burberry. And what this kind of content is doing is wanting to capture moments, little snapshots of a party scene or of a dinner table or of someone's day. This kind of content makes you feel like you were there in that party, like you saw this moment. And again, that is helping you feel like part of that world that Burberry is trying to create. And then, of course, we've got this lovely, amazing stop motion, which is all done through their threads. They've just used that classic Burberry backdrop and then created a lovely story. The video is longer than this, but I'm using GIF, so I could only show you a 5-second clip. But I recommend trying to find it and having a look, because it's so beautiful. But again, that's where you can get more creative with storytelling, using your products, showing your materials, and things like that. And I'm going to walk through different formats in a minute and where to use them. But this just gives you an example of that creative variety working really well, but keeping that cohesion throughout the brand. So it all looks really consistent, despite it all being different formats. Another really good example is Fern. I'm loving their content, and they have got the creative variety down as well. So again, humans, you can see hands, people, they've got the farmers. They did this kind of big guerrilla campaign or immersive campaign where they plowed like the Fern symbol into a farmer field, and that's where they get their ingredients. Anything that we can do in real life. So you guys are here today. So take some video content, because people want to feel like they're there with you when you're out and about. Out and about content is huge because it makes you real. It shows what you're doing. AI can't do that. And then, again, we've still got our beautiful stills photography in here, but it's ingredients-led. It's got the raw materials in it that carry through in our stop motions, in our photography, and in our creative content as well. So their thread and what keeps all of their content really consistent is this use of ingredients. And again, they use quite contrasty, moody lighting across all of it, which again keeps it really consistent. Another thing to note is analog props. Really, really on trend right now. So they've used this old TV. They shot a lovely video, which they've posted separately. It's like a product video, or it's like a storytelling video. And then they've done another piece of content showing the video being played on this old school TV, because it's like setting you in a scene. Like you're now watching the video from an old school living room, and it puts you in a world. This is the world they're creating around their products, around their brand. We're thinking a bit bigger now. We're thinking less product, more brand. And then they also, of course, use this lovely whimsical storytelling. They use lots of stop motion in their ads and in their campaigns and in their content, showcasing ingredients. This one is about a sort of recipe book coming to life, which is absolutely beautiful. And again, it stays on brand with that use of ingredients and moody lighting and kind of whimsical vibe. I mean, they have a vibe that they really nail throughout. So why does creative variety matter? So I want you just for a minute to think about your friendships and your friends. So do you have any friends that you like? I have a friend, actually, I'm going to change the example slightly, because I have a friend. When you go and send a friend a WhatsApp message to say happy birthday, and you realize that the last message you sent them was, in fact, happy birthday last year. And you're like, oh, shit. haven't seen her, talked to her, haven't called them, haven't done anything. So that friendship has become quite one-dimensional. It's a bit stale, and you're not really putting that much in. You're not that invested in it. So that's probably where it's going to stay unless you really do something to revive it. And then if you think about some of your other friendships where you're voice noting, you're WhatsApping them all the time, you send them selfies, send them pictures, you have video calls, they send you gifts for your birthday, or cards, physical things, and you go for dinner and you have chats, you see them in person, you go to events together. That kind of friendship is so much more well-rounded, and it's such a beautiful, you have just wonderful feelings about that friendship. You're immersed in it, and it feels alive. So that is exactly the same as marketing. If you are just emailing your customers, your weekly email, and you're not really doing anything else, then they're going to feel like maybe it's a little bit stale, and they're not that invested. But if you're kind of showing them people talking about your products out and about, if you're showing them in use, in people's homes, if you're showing you as a founder how you source the products, how you get the materials, if you're showing WhatsApp messages between two of your audience members, say your product is made for mums, a great marketing tool would be to show a WhatsApp chat between mums, chatting about the problems they have and why your product is the solution. So I just want you to think about that kind of more rounded approach and how you can maybe add in a few more threads to your marketing that might help bring that immersive world to life a bit more. WhatsApp chats, any kind of native phone icons or sort of phone, what am I saying? Screens are really great to use at the moment, like Notes apps, WhatsApp chat, reminder icons, the little reminder tick boxes, emoji kind of panels. All of those kind of interfaces are a great tool, a great graphic tool to use at the moment in your marketing. So where's the evidence of this creative variety that we're talking about? Well, 58% of consumers report discovering businesses by social media. Like, I don't know if you've noticed, but TV ads are pretty, like, non-existent anymore. Like, you get them through on demand. No one watches TV in real time anyway, so it's all on social media. The big brands are investing all their money on social media at the moment, and the TV ad might be a byproduct now of their social media campaigns, whereas before, it was entirely the other way around. And then 79% of customers say that user-generated content is the #1 reason they might have bought something. So this is people buying from people using people in their marketing, customers, real reviews, showing people using the products. That's what's driving sales at the moment because it's human-led. And platforms such as Meta have specifically spoken about their preference for original, varied content. If you're putting out ads at the moment and you're putting out repetitions of similar ads, they're not going to perform as well as if you are testing a variety of formats. They want that variety of formats. They're going to be rewarding that variety of formats by pushing those out more. But don't panic. Because I feel like sometimes you're like, oh yeah, this is all great, this is all great. You're like, oh God, so much work to do. Oh. But don't worry, I'm gonna break it down step by step and give you just a few formats that you could layer on to what you're already doing to have fun with as well. You don't need to start it all again. What you're doing is great, and do not ditch what's working. If something's working, we're going to keep that. What you might ditch is the things that aren't working and the things that are taking up time. So this is about layering. So each month, maybe add one more layer on. Gradual, gradual, gradual. It's exciting. We get to have more fun with our content. We get to be more creative, try different things. This is what I love to do. So, OK, I'm going to take you through 5 formats that you can try, and when to use them and why. So, stop motion, obviously, my favorite. So where does stop motion sit amongst this creative variety? Because obviously we've talked a lot about raw content and UGC, human-led content. So where does stop motion sit in that? Well, it is amazing for educational and explainer storytelling. So if you have like something that we're doing a lot for our clients is like ingredients or materials, like being specific about benefits. So when you really want to educate your audience about what your product does, or break down your product and show them the benefits of it, this is where stop motion can really perform well. So for example, this unboxing video for Tom's studio, we open up the box, we're laying everything out, we're educating them on what comes in the box, we've got annotations there. This is the information they need to buy. This stop motion sits on the product listing right before they're going to press that button, because they need all that information. They want to know. They've come to the website through some more human-led content, and now they actually need the information to buy. So that's where stop motion comes into its own really well, or one way it does. Anyway, it's a great way of explaining complex features as well. So sometimes you have maybe concepts behind your products or features that are quite difficult to explain through just regular video or still imagery. So stop motion can be a really great tool for that. Also emotive storytelling as well. Like we brought this book to life through stop motion by making it burst and the whole story coming out of the book. That's an amazing piece of content to thread in to this like a mixed digital marketing strategy. And then what's working at the moment with stop motion? Well, human as well. We can bring human elements into stop motion. So wherever you can add feet, hands, faces. I've seen one the other day with a body as the backdrop. So wherever you can add just any kind of body in there, trust me, it'll perform well at the moment. Rich textures are doing really well. But also, this format or this technique, you can also bring into real environments. Why not create a stop motion in your living room? Have like cushions pop on to the sofa and the rug roll out, or like do a shelf. Find a shelf in your house or in your shop and animate the things coming onto a shelf. So using real environments as the backdrop to stop motions is also going to really perform well at the moment. Talking to camera. Sorry, I know, but it has to go on here because it does perform well. But it doesn't have to be you. Brand ambassadors are taking over influencers at the moment. So if you can get yourself some brand ambassadors, you're going to be really winning. And one of the pieces of content that you can ask them to create is this kind of talking to camera reel. Now, I've used two examples here where the camera it's a really intimate kind of setting, so for two reasons. So in the one on the left, obviously she's in bed, she's in her pajamas, so that's kind of intimate. We're in her house. We feel like we've been like invited into her space, into her world, into her mind. So whatever she's saying, we're going to listen to because we're like, oh, okay. We're in her home. She's telling us her feelings, her thoughts around whatever the problem is or the struggles that she's having that said product then solves. And on the second one here, it's a selfie cam, and she's doing it while walking along. She's probably like on the school run or something. She's busy just like you are, and it's like she's chatting to a friend on FaceTime. Like, it's that close. It's not the most flattering angle. It's really, really lo-fi. So that, again, in terms of talking to camera, we don't want any of this like, hi, I'm blah, blah, and this is what I have to say about these products. We want this kind of much rawer, candid kind of style. So less scripted, more conversational, filmed on your phone. And then, yeah, you can do founders, team members, creators, ambassadors can use this as well. OK, if you don't want to be on the face on the camera and you don't have any brand ambassadors, then this one's for you. This is video with voiceover. Again, voiceover really helped bring about that human element without you having to be on camera. I mean, if you can mix in some shots of you walking or doing something or someone doing something, then that's a bonus. But you don't have to be talking to camera. You don't even have to show your face. So this is really good for immersive world building because, again, you can tell several different stories here. You could tell any story here, but we could do like a founder story here, for example, of like where you started, how you came up with the idea for the products, what you're currently developing, and you just show pictures of maybe your workspace. You can have you making a cup of tea. Like, really doesn't matter. And so yeah, you can tell that story of how your brand has evolved. Another really good thing that a really good topic that video with voiceover is good for is unboxing videos. So again, if you have brand ambassadors, or you can do these yourselves, or get some friends to do them, then an unboxing video with a voiceover is a really good piece of content. So what's working with these right now? So founder stories, as I said, really good one. I recommend if you haven't got a founder story, try this one. Voiceover, B-roll with voiceover, and tell the story of how your brand has come to life. And if you're doing any other style like unboxings, then my recommendation is keep the shots short. So 2 to 3 seconds per shot. And you just want to be changing shots all the time because attention spans are not good. So yeah, processes as well. How your product is made. That could be another really good one to show. How you're choosing the styles of this season, like whatever decisions you're having to make in your day-to-day, that's something you could add a voiceover to. And then also lifestyle and everyday moments. So this is where you could look at it more from the customer point of view, like how they're using your products, how someone might be feeling now that they have got your products in their life. Now that they've found you, then how are they feeling? How is their life so much better? That's the story you could tell through this. OK, hooky short form. This is one of my favorites. This is where you can use your quick transitions. This is where, if you want to, you can jump on social media trends. Just a quick note on social media trends. We want to think about trends as a whole. So this whole creative variety, I'm talking through a lot of marketing trends. These are trends that are brought about from customer actions and why people buy. Social media trends, like, are quick trends that come and go. So we want to be looking at marketing trends overall and trying to build our strategy around marketing trends. And then when you want to, and if you have time, and if you're feeling creative, and if you fancy it that day, you can then do some social media trends. But I would not lead your whole strategy on social media trends, because they're very hit and miss. But they are fun. So if you want to, then let's do it. So I really want to do this one, for example. So with our head exploding. So that, I think, is, you could make it in all sorts of apps, but I reckon that was probably done in Canva. So what we've got here, we've got human, so human-led. We've got apps, and we've got like a little messaging interface. So we've got the in-camera kind of interfaces there, so that's trendy. And then we've got, inside the text bubble, we've got some messaging that is talking about what her audience is going through at the moment, or something that's really relatable to what they are going through at the moment. So that ticks so many boxes as to why that has performed really well at the moment. But also your hooky short form stuff. These are around 5 to 7 seconds long. This is where you bring in your like little short bits of B-roll with a hook, with a text hook. Has anyone been using text hooks? No? OK, I need to do a whole talk on text hooks. So this is where you use a block of text on your content that really directly speaks to your audience in a quick way. This is what grabs attention through text. When you compare a text hook with a visual hook, so that's where you've got your text hook that's saying, has anyone seen the ones that are like POV? Can't think of it now. POV, I've just dropped my kids off at school. I keep using kids examples, sorry, I'm a mum. I've dropped my kids off at school and I've realized I've forgotten the bike again, or the guitar again. Yesterday I forgot my daughter's guitar. It was her guitar lesson on Monday, so we had to run it back. So if your brand talks about like mum life and like your products help mums, you don't always have to be directly talking about your product. What you want to be doing is talking about what else they're going through in their day. So that could be a good one. So if you've seen those POV text hooks, that's what these are. And then if you pair them with a visual hook, so people dancing, these guys, I mean, they're like, I just want to be there dancing with them. So that's a really good visual hook. They come into frame. That's an immediate action with the first couple of seconds. And then you're just kind of gripped on their positivity. So that's cool. This other one's a text hook because it's lots of action and graphics, and most of the social media trends are visual hooks. Sorry, not text hooks, visual hooks. And then finally, a really useful format that is currently working really well at the moment is carousels. So these are great for repurposing any kind of content you have in your camera roll. Anything that you've used before, any stills you have. This is where you can mix video with stills, with some like selfies, with some like random B-roll that you've got, with some ambassador stuff. You can really mix it up in carousels. Like, honestly, the dirtier the better at the moment. Like, people are not caring. What's leading the carousels is the story that's going over the top. So if you're doing it as a kind of photo dump style carousel, then I recommend you try and tell a story with the words that go over it. So again, we're going to start on that first slide with a text hook. So for example, I use this one. I got a message yesterday that made me spit out my tea, and I have to share it with you. So we want to create intrigue in the first slide of a carousel. So this carousel was all about why, I think basically one of my clients messaged me and said, oh, the big brands are really cottoning onto stop motion. And I was like, what? The big brands have always used stop motion. The big brands are the leaders of using stop motion for their marketing. They're not just cottoning on. Big brands have been using it for years and years and years and years. And it's been so successful. So I was shocked that this was like a thought that other people might think, is that big brands don't use it, or they're just starting to use it. So anyway, what I was doing through this carousel was helping educate my audience on the power of stop motion for marketing, and that big brands have always been using it. But what I didn't do was lead my carousel with, big brands use stop motion, here's why. Because like, you don't really care. But what you do care is why I spat out my tea. Because we all want to know It gives you that insight into my day, something I went through. It's more human-led. So even through the words that we write, we're trying to be more human. And then another really fun way to use carousels is to tell a story. So if you are used to using stop motions or video formats, you can actually create little bite-sized shots. Instead of making a reel, where you would have your 2 to 3 second shots all back-to-back for a reel, what you can actually do is just have a series of 2-second shots in your carousel instead. And people swipe through it like a visual story. And that's working really well at the moment, and such a fun way to kind of alternate the edit, but use the same kind of content. So if you look back to some of the reels that you might have made, then you could break those down and start to repurpose them as carousels. Something I should also mention is that with all of this content, what we want to think about is not only socials, but how we're also going to use this content in our emails and on our websites as well. So we want to think about what stills we're going to use on our websites and emails. Maybe we want to try and bring some more humans into those as well, so that the cohesion and the consistency thread continues as people go on a journey through your brand. So what brings all of these formats together is your messaging. So if you can really now take a picture of this, because if you need to answer these questions to yourself to be able to create the type of content that is going to resonate with your audience. I'd like you to just sit with these questions for a minute, not now, but later. We could. And then think about how can I maybe emulate some of these questions through our content. So what do you stand for? What is your why? That's your why. That's why you actually started your brand. And is that coming across on your website? Is that coming across in your content? Can you see that through your socials? And who are you talking to? That's who your audience is. If you don't know that, then you really need to go back and look at that. Who are you talking to? And I don't mean women who are 35 to 40 or 35 to 60. That's a bit narrow. I mean women, like 35-year-old women or maybe 42-year-old women going through perimenopause who live at home and like to shop for independent brands, and they also get food deliveries, and on weekends they go to markets. Like, what do they do? What do they do in their spare time? Who else are they buying from? Because if they're buying from you, you want to know what else is in their home, who else are they buying from? And again, that's when other people are going to relate. So if they see your products amongst other products that they also buy from, then they're going to see how your product also fits into their life. So it's about, again, that world building. Think of the world that your customer, your ideal customer or customers, you might have a couple of different ideal customers, and that's fine. Think about where they live and what they do in their day-to-day. Think about how you can bring that in to all of these different formats that we've talked about today. And that's how you're going to really bring your brand to life and create this like immersive world through creative variety, and get your content seen and get people actually listening and engaging with it. So this is me, Alice, at loveday.social. That's us on Instagram, and our website is lovedaysocial.com. We do content creation, done-for-you content creation through our studio for brands, as I've shown you. We also have a group program where we kind of do it with you. So we do your marketing strategy and your creation with you. And then I also have a membership where I teach you, have tons of tutorials and resources on how to create content yourself. So have a little look on there. And yeah, if anyone has any questions, then shout.
Thank you. That was really, really interesting, and just what I needed, actually, because I'm feeling a bit meh about social
good.
media.
Yeah. I know, it does get like that. I'm feeling meh myself, to be fair. But like, creativity always gives me a boost.
Yeah, perfect. So this is probably a really annoying question, but so we listen to today and we go, amazing, then we go back to our desks and everything else overwhelms us.
Yeah.
If you could do one bit of content of those 5 formats as a sort of quick win to do first, what would you recommend?
Founder-led.
Perfect.
Yeah. founder at the moment. That's people want to know you, why, because that can feed into all of your all of those messages, like why you started it. Once people know why you started it, and again, that doesn't mean you have to be on camera. You can do voiceovers, you can show your processes, but the behind the scenes stuff at the moment, that's what I'd recommend.
I've written that down already, so thank you. Perfect.
Is there a different approach with Instagram versus TikTok?
So TikTok is a little bit more fast-paced, but overall, your marketing strategy should cover all platforms. So a slightly different approach, yes. I think human-led is even more important on TikTok. And it's, again, it's just quicker and it's more on trend. So like the things like the analog features or like in-app screens, that will be really good on TikTok. Whereas more slower-paced founder stories might work better on Instagram. I'm not a TikTok expert, so I'm not. I don't have loads to say on TikTok. But yes, there are just nuances. I wouldn't say it's different, like too different. And overall, you should have a strategy for your whole marketing rather than platform by platform. But there are tweaks to make, sure. And Pinterest is another great one for your more polished content as well. Like if you're not posting on Pinterest, that's a great one because you can just like post it and dump it and leave it there. Like you do not have to keep up to a schedule. So I love that about Pinterest.
So I haven't done content creation before, but we're sort of learning on the job.
You might have to hold it a little bit closer, sorry.
We're kind of learning on the job.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice about quality of cameras? Are people using their phones? Are people getting the newest iPhone? How are people getting high quality footage and photographs for their pages? How are people doing it?
Yeah, so I recommend, I mean, it depends on what you're using the content for. So if you are going for that more polished content and you want it to sit in your product listings and you want to run some really nice storytelling ads, then I would say, and like for stop motion, like highly polished stop motion, I would recommend you want to use a camera and product shots and things like that. If it wants to look clean and polished, then you want to be using a camera. But for everything else, you can pretty much use a phone, I would say. And you can even use a phone for stop motion and things like that, but you just got to be careful with the lighting. And but because raw content is performing well right now and that more like real human-led, then phones are great. So yeah, I would say just try and keep slightly up to date with your phone, but you don't have to have the latest one, just one. I mean, I've literally just changed from my iPhone 11 to my iPhone 17, so I'm like, okay, it was time. But I would say phones are absolutely fine. But it just depends on where it's going to sit. You don't really want a really kind of lo-fi picture in your product listings or on your like polished carousels or on your website banner, for example. That all wants to be nicely shot with a camera. But then for all of your like day-to-day content, for sure, a phone is good.
Thank you.